Hey guys, Pixel Dan here, and welcome to another episode of From Pixels to Plastic. I figured while I was finishing up my Zelda board game episode, I'd give you guys a little special episode. See, I've actually been wanting to revisit one of my earlier episodes that did not appear on RetroWareTV.com. My very first episode took a look at several different Legend of Zelda action figures, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of go back and take a look at those again, but maybe this time with a little more detail. Now, since there have been so many different Legend of Zelda figures based on all of the Zelda video games, in this episode I'm only going to take a look at figures from two of those games, that being Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. So what are we waiting for? Let's dive right in. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask brought something brand new to the Legend of Zelda franchise. These were the first two games that we saw our hero Link in the 3D aspect. Both of these games were released for the Nintendo 64, and both of these are revered as two of the very best Zelda games ever made. So what better place to start than with action figures based right off of these two very, very awesome games. Since Ocarina was released first, we'll start there. This set of three figures was released around the exact same time as Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf were available in two different forms, either individually packaged and sold in stores like Best Buy, or offered as a 3-pack through Nintendo Power, which is where I got my set. Link is equipped with his Master Sword and his Hyrulean Shield. The figure has basic articulation and doesn't offer any cool extras like the ability to slide his shield into a scabbard, but regardless, this is still a fantastic looking action figure. One that really depicts Link exactly how he looked in the video game, in his adult form. Neither Zelda nor Ganondorf included any accessories, but again, where they lacked extras, they made up for in their awesome sculpt and paint job. This set of figures is very well made, and still remains some of my favorite Legend of Zelda action figures. Soon, Toy Biz got the rights to several video game franchises and began releasing several figures under the Video Game Superstars banner. Included were figures from Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, Marvel vs. Capcom, Mario Kart, and Ocarina of Time. These Ocarina of Time figures came with horses for the figures to ride on. There was Link with Epona, Ganondorf, and Impa with young Zelda. This time around, Link is wearing a much lighter shade of green, and has a less detailed looking Master Sword. At least this time though, he can fit the sword in his scabbard. This Link is a little different looking though. Here's a side-by-side comparison, so you can see what he looks like compared to the other Ocarina of Time Link. Can you see the difference? He's almost more cartoony looking, but he does come with Epona, and that's a big plus. Epona has small pegs on her back that Link fits right onto, and the figure just looks very nice while riding the horse. Ganondorf includes his black steed, a staff, and his Phantom Ganon mask, which is a really nice touch. While donning the mask and mounting his steed, this is one fearsome looking action figure. And the final figure set in the series included a young Princess Zelda and her bodyguard, Impa. As far as I know, this is the only time Impa has ever seen a plastic form, which alone is enough reason to buy this particular set. I was, however, always a little bothered at the fact that we got a young Zelda in the same series as an adult Link. But oh well, I do still have that other set, right? Although Zelda sits a little funny on the horse, they still look really nice. And this set as a whole is a great one to own. My only wish is that we would have received a figure of Sheik here too. So that was the lineup we received for Ocarina of Time. Now, let's take a look at what Majora's Mask brought us, which happens to be some of the best video game figures I've ever had the pleasure of owning. A Japanese toy company by the name of Epoch produced an awesome line of figures based off the hit sequel to Link's first 3D adventure. There were 4 main figures released in this set: Link, Deku Link, Zora Link, and Goron Link. Each figure included an awesome display base for the figure to stand on, and some of the best all-around sculpting and detail on any Zelda figure to date, in my opinion. Link included 2 different swords, both of which he could hold or display in his scabbard, and then of course his shield. The figure features a good amount of articulation so he can be posed on his display base. Each of Link's alter egos have the same amount of great articulation, and just an overall awesome look. Take a look at these figures. It's almost as if they jumped right out of the game. Now, Deku Link has something that makes him a must-have in this collection. Masks. That's right, this little guy includes several of the famous masks from the game, including the Zora mask, the Goron mask, the Deku mask, and even Majora's mask. The cool part is that you can actually remove the bangs on the Link figure and put the masks on his face via a small peg, which makes this an excellent accessory for these action figures. There was even a deluxe figure in this series, Link with Epona. Now this Epona did not include a saddle, which does make it a little difficult to keep Link sitting on her. But Epona didn't have a saddle in the game, so I guess that's accurate, right? Link also isn't good for doing anything else besides sitting on Epona's back, as he's stuck in a straddling pose. But together, they do make one really great display piece, and they really help round out this series. This line of figures only gave us several different versions of Link, but I'm okay with that because of how incredibly awesome they are. Now, if they only would have given us a fierce deity Link, man, that would have been even more awesome. Well, that's going to end off my look at the action figures based off the 2 Nintendo 64 Zelda titles. I know my first episode on these figures is still one of my most viewed, and I still constantly get emails asking me where you could buy these toys. Since all of these figures are older and out of production, unfortunately the only advice I can offer you is to keep checking eBay, or maybe your local specialty shops. The only problem is that some of these figures go for pretty high prices today, especially those Majora's Mask figures. They are very hard to come by, and when you do find them, they sometimes go for as high as $75. But if you want them, and you're determined, eventually you're going to find them at a price you're willing to pay. So happy hunting! Thanks for joining me on this special episode revisiting the Legend of Zelda toys. Very soon, I'll have a brand new episode up. Until then, take care, gang. Do it, Doc!